As criminal defense attorneys and as public defenders, I think we live often with a great deal of moral ambiguity. I think so. I don't know if you guys do. Who agrees with me? And especially as public defenders, we are kind of part of the court family and not part of the court family. Does that resonate with anybody? Totally, right? We're kind of there, but we're kind of the black sheep. When I became a federal defender, I felt like I was really part of the court family. And it was Ron Tyler who made me understand that we weren't quite really all that part, not that much part of the court family. We were kind of the black sheep, which is important to know. It's important to know that you're not completely part of the family. And to illustrate how Ron is able to negotiate and understand and manage that kind of moral ambiguity, I want to tell you about something that happened to Ron Tyler and that Ron Tyler did in October of 1995. It was dark, it was San Francisco, and in about 7:30 at night, Ron was wrapping up doing his work in the Federal Defender's Office, where we were colleagues at the time. Ron went outside, and the sky was already dark, part of that cold day that he settled into San Francisco. And as a tired Ron lugged his bag home to do even more work, he heard a cry of despair across the street.
Help! Help!
He saw a woman being dragged by a purse. She was desperately holding onto the purse. It was attached to her shoulder, and a man was dragging her by that purse. There were people standing around, all of whom, of course, looked at her and looked away and kept walking. And Ron, in facing his first decision point of moral ambiguity, said, "Oh, fuck, why me?" And he realized that he had to run across the street and confront the situation. And confront he did. He engaged with this person, the person ran away, and then Ron faced his second decision point. Is it right that I just leave it here? No, he decided in this moment of moral ambiguity, as a defender, do I leave it alone or do I follow? And he followed. And he followed for 2.5 blocks until he caught up with this person. And then the third decision point where he realized, oh fuck, it was a good idea up until now. What am I going to do now, right?
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
And for you, those young people here, that's a reference to Michael Jackson, who was a well-known pop singer. and Ron, being the king of defenders and the king of superheroes in the defender's office, was ready to deal with that situation again. Just in that moment, an undercover police vehicle pulled up, stopped, and the situation was diffused. Of course, Ron did not have to engage with this person. But then Ron faced his next decision. He decided, I just can't walk away from this thing. On the one hand, I want to tell this person, you have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say can and will be used against you. And he started to take a couple steps in that direction. But in this morally ambiguous situation that he faced, he decided he couldn't do that. And instead, he gave his card to the undercover agent and said, look, you're going to want to contact me. Because he realized the person who had been attacked deserved part of the fairness of the process as well. Doesn't end there, though. Ron Tyler then showed up for the preliminary hearing, which was necessary. But of course, the next decision point is he talked to the defense, and he laid out to the defense, for example, that he thought that the assailant was a man, when in fact the person charged was a woman. And from there, the entire prosecution unraveled very quickly. And I've seen a transcript. Ron doesn't remember this, but I've seen the transcript of the cross-examination, of the direct examination, of the direct examination by the prosecutor of Ron, which does not feel like a direct examination. It feels like a very, very good cross by a defense attorney, because Ron ends up totally blowing apart the prosecution. This is a long way of saying that Ron Tyler sort of represents what we represent as public defenders, caught in this very bizarre system with lots of competing pressures, but ultimately what he represents is a total commitment to clients and a total commitment to justice. And you're going to see an ability to be empathic and reach across differences and communicate with people that I'm proud to say I have picked up and learned from Ron as much as I could over the years. So thank you.
the defense calls Lorenzo Benito to the stand. Lorenzo, you've been sitting through the trial listening to what the detective has been testifying about, haven't you?
Yes.
Lorenzo, did you hear the detective say that you confessed to murdering John Hussey?
I haven't heard him say that.
Did you kill John Hussey?
No.
Did you rob John Hussey?
No.
Then why did you say you did?
I didn't say I did. They said I did. I eventually agreed with them because it became clear to me I had no other choice but to agree.
What does that mean? It became clear to you.
I told them I didn't know anything about this, that I didn't know John Husters, I didn't rob anybody, kill anybody for that matter. Hadn't been in Chicago when it happened. But nothing I said made any difference. They were not going to take an oath from me.
What do you mean you weren't in Chicago when it happened?
Just what I said, I wasn't in Chicago when the murder that they told me occurred, as they said, it was a banker in Grant Park.
Did you tell them where you had been?
I told them that during that time period, I was working for Mr. Delgado in Streeter.
Streeter? Like 80 miles from Chicago, you mean, down by Peoria?
And it takes about an hour and a half to get there. If you tell me it's 80 miles, I wouldn't disagree with you.
How do you know that you were in Streeter when this happened?
Because during that time period, I had a job working for Mr. Delgado on his own house. I was staying with him. I spent my nights there, and the job lasted a couple weeks.
What was the job?
I was doing some light carpentry work for him and a renovation of his house.
Did you explain that to the police?
Yeah, I told him.
Did you give him his address so they could go talk to him?
I didn't know the address, but I offered to take him there. They weren't interested.
Did you give him his cell phone number or something so they could call him?
I don't know his cell phone number.
When did you get back from Streeter then?
I couldn't tell you the exact time that or that exact date that I came back, but it was well after when they said this happened.
What's the first time then, Lorenzo, that you knew about this situation that you're in now?
When they arrested me at the restaurant,
Who were you with at the restaurant?
Jesus Otero.
And how did it happen that they arrested you?
Well, they came into the restaurant and arrested me, put the bracelets on me and took me out.
What were you thinking when that happened?
Well, I was confused. I'd never been arrested before and I didn't know what this was about.
Did they tell you what it was about? They put the bracelets on you and took you on?
Said they were arresting me for murder and armed robbery. They didn't give me any detail.
Where'd they take you?
They took me to the police station, I guess you call it holding cell at first.
Had you ever been in a holding cell?
I'd never had been there.
What was that like?
Well, it was a smaller room with a lot of other people that I'm assuming had been arrested, waiting to be processed, I guess.
And how long did you wait in that holding cell?
Several hours, I want to say.
Did you make a call or to your parents?
No, there was no way to make a call, and I couldn't call my parents anyway.
Why not?
Well, for one, my mother is deceased, and my father is in Mexico.
What about your brothers and sisters? Did you call a brother or sister? Think about that?
All in Mexico, they've been deported. I'm the last one still in the United States.
So at some point, did you leave the holding cell?
They came and got me, and they took me into a room that was just me for a good while.
This was a room in the police station, I'm assuming.
Yes, I assume they would call it an interview.
What else was in the room other than you?
Table, 2 chairs, maybe a couple of chairs, not much else.
Were there any windows?
No,
So you're sitting at the table now. How much bigger was it than this table and chair that you got there?
probably half the size.
So at a certain point, somebody else came in the room?
Exactly.
And what happened when the detective came in?
Well, at first, he was talking to me about things that I wouldn't have thought had anything to do with the murder of anyone around town.
Like what?
Oh, well, he was asking me about my family, and I told him that my situation. I told him that my mother had died, and seemed to feel some sort of, I don't know if he felt sorry for me or what, but he said, oh, my mother passed away too. We talked about some other things.
What other things?
We talked about baseball and how I liked playing baseball when I was younger. And I think he said that he played baseball too, and at some point he said, he told me he thought I was a pretty good kid or something like that. So it was strange.
Why was that strange?
Well, because on the one hand, they arrested me for these very serious crimes, but then this guy's acting like he's my friend, at least at that point.
What do you mean, at least at that point?
Well, he takes a long break, I want to say an hour or so. This is like in the middle of the night. And when he comes back, he's different to me. He's not so nice to me then.
So what you said it was in the middle of the night. How long have you been there by the time this long break takes place?
Several hours. I can just tell you this, it was daylight when they picked me up, and by the time they're finished with me, it's daylight, and it had been night in between. The whole time I was talking to that guy was overnight.
Did they go get some food for you on that break?
I think they gave me a candy bar and a Coke at some point.
Did you have dinner with Mr. Otero before you went over there?
No, they were arrested. It's almost as if they were waiting for me, waiting for us to get there.
So you mentioned that things changed when you came back from the break.
Right.
How did they change?
Well, he was not being so nice then.
How so?
Well, he was accusing me of these crimes, but most importantly, I guess that was so different, is that he was telling me that he was absolutely positive or 100% certain that I was guilty of these crimes and that I needed to just admit it.
Did he tell you why he was 100% positive that you were guilty of these crimes?
You know, not at first, no. I asked, he said something about a file, and I asked to see the file, and,
Did he show it to you?
no, he refused, but he, again, assured me that he was 100% positive that I was guilty.
Did he mention anything other than this file?
He said, there were witnesses, I asked who they were, he wouldn't tell me. He said
Anything?
other things too.
Like what?
He said there was a cigarette butt found on the scene and that the DNA was gonna prove that I did it.
Do you smoke? Louis?
No, never had.
Then did that make it, why should that matter to you?
It shouldn't, I mean, you know, I told him, but, you know, no matter how many times I told him I didn't do it, it didn't matter, so telling him I didn't smoke wasn't gonna matter either.
So other than this cigarette butt and the file and the witnesses that he wouldn't tell you about, did he mention anything else?
He said something about a hair that was found somewhere and that too was gonna be able to link to proof that I was the person.
What did you think about that?
Well, I'm confused about it because on the one hand, I know that it can't be my hair, just like I know that it can't be my cigarette that they found, but at the same time, he's telling me he's 100% positive that I did it and that I just needed to admit it. And I have no reason to think that he would lie to me about at least what he thought the truth was, even if he was wrong.
Well, did he mention anything else other than the hair?
He said that there were cameras everywhere, and the cameras were gonna show that I committed these crimes.
Why would that matter to you whether the cameras would show this?
Well, it should be helpful to me, because if they ever did produce whatever the camera shot, it could show that I was there, because I wasn't.
Did you ask him to show you the video?
And he wasn't gonna show me. He just said that I didn't need to see it. He was 100% positive that I had done it and that I needed to go ahead and admit to it, because something about, wasn't a question of who did what, but why. Something like that. He said some more things like that.
Did he mention any other reason why he was sure this was you?
Eventually, he named witnesses.
Who did he name? Do you remember the names?
Jesus Otero and Morales.
Did those names mean anything to you?
Yeah, I know both of them.
How do you know Mr. Otero?
Otero's my friend. Well, I thought was my friend from way back in school.
Well,
Been an acquaintance of his for several years, so it surprised me that they would say that he was a witness against me, but he was one of them.
and what did he say that Mr. Otero told? He said apparently Mr. Otero told him something?
He said that Otero told him that I told Otero that I did this thing.
And what did you, how was your reaction to that?
I told the detective that I didn't tell Otero I did those things because I didn't do them.
Did you think about why Otero would say that? Do you know him to?
And I didn't want to think that my friend would do that, so I don't know why. And I didn't ask the cop, why would Otero say such things, because the cop was going to tell me because I did it.
What about this other fellow, Morales?
Morales used to be married to my cousin, so I know him that way.
How long have you known him then?
A few years, but he sort of disappeared from the scene. I don't know if they're separated or divorced, but they no longer were together.
So, when's the last time you would have seen him?
I don't know, he went up the road for a bit.
What do you mean, went up the road for a bit?
He went to prison. I think he shot a guy.
So, what did the officer tell you that Mr. Morales had told you?
More of the same, that I told them that I shot the guy, part of some initiation into some gang, and that I admitted to the whole thing, the drug deal gone bad, et cetera, and so forth. Now, he's telling me that that's what Morales told him, that I told Morales those things.
What do you mean initiation into some gang?
They said that I was trying to become a Latin king, and to become a Latin king, I needed to rob and shoot somebody in Grant Park.
Do you know the Latin King gang?
I know of them, yes.
Do you know whether this Morales or Otero, do they know about them?
Yeah, they're both members of the Latin King.
Well, and Mr. Otero, you said is a friend of yours.
Thought he was a friend. I'm not so sure I would claim him as a friend now.
So do you want to be a member of the Latin Kings also?
No,
Why not?
I have no desire to be part of the street gang, and even if I did, they would never take me.
Why wouldn't they take you?
I'm not sure what this has to do with anything, but they're rough, tough guys, and I'm not. I'm not their type, I guess you'd say. And I'm not the type of person they're looking for.
What do you mean by not being the type of person they're looking for, Lorenzo?
I'm different. And
Different how?
I'm not, I date men. And the Latin Kings wouldn't tolerate homosexuals in their membership, amongst their membership, even where I'm so inclined, and I'm not.
How do you know they wouldn't tolerate homosexuals?
I just know. They're a rough and tough bunch of guys, and I would be, at a minimum, made fun of and probably beaten up and victimized.
Has that ever happened to you before?
Yeah, all the time.
When?
Back in school,
When did it happen to you back in school?
probably starting in junior high school, I would get picked on, called names.
How far did you go in school?
Ninth grade, I think.
What? Why only ninth grade?
Well, I got kicked out of one school for fighting, and then they sent me to an alternative school, and it wasn't for me, so I quit.
What do you mean it wasn't for you?
Well, school's just not my thing. They kept wanting to put me in special classes, and I didn't think I needed to be in special classes. I was tired of being told that I had special needs or something like that, so I quit.
Had you been in special classes before?
I guess so. That's what they call them. It seemed like regular school to me.
What's the first time you were in these special classes?
Oh, I think as long as I can remember being in school, I've been in some kind of special class.
Lorenzo, we're going to return to this in the afternoon, but I have to ask you. You heard the detective, he testified that you admitted that the Latin Kings told you to go rob people. Is that right?
He said that. I denied it several times. He eventually convinced me that it was only gonna be in my best interest to admit that I had done it. So yes, I repeated back to him what he told me. If you wanna say I said it, yes, I said it, but only after he told me that that's what I needed to say.
Well, what about this thing with rock cocaine? He says that you admitted selling rock cocaine to Mr. Hussard.
He said that, I told him no several times, and then I reluctantly, after being beaten down, agreed.
What about the gun? He's testifying that you admitted using this gun, a .32.
No, he said that. I denied it. When he asked me what kind of gun, I figured I was already toast, so I told him I thought it was a .22.
Did he accept that?
Nope.
And what, then what?
Told him I guess it wasn't a .22. Thought it might have been a 9. 'Cause I've heard people refer to guns as 9, so I said it was a 9.
So that was the end of the questioning on that?
No, he didn't like that answer either.
Well, then what?
Then I guess 32. If there's a 22, there's probably also a 32. So I said, okay, it was a 32.
I mean, so why would you admit to these things when you're saying that you weren't even there?
He made it seem that I had a choice. I could either be a stone cold killer, or I could be somebody who got wrapped up in something like an armed robbery that went bad and it was an accident. Not having done either of those things was not an option. So he told me that second choice was the best thing for me to say.
Did he give you any promises about your future?
He told me that the district attorney, who I assume is going to be in charge of something dealing with my case, and the judge, who I assume is going to be the one who gives me my time, would find it much better for me if I said that I did it, but it was an accident. So that's what I told him, and he did. He used words like, "You still have a future, and you can still go to school, and you can still learn a trade." But I could only do all of those things if I admitted it. Otherwise, I was going to be a stone cold killer in a warehouse for life.
We'll leave it there.